Chapter 2. The Longest Christmas Day. You will not cry. You will not call Bella. You will absolutely not pack a bag and drive down to Fort Myers, Sierra admonished herself, directing the order to the phone that was still clutched in her hand. As she stared at the instrument, the ring she had chosen that sounded much like Susan's marching band sounded. No, Connie, I will not intrude on your family holiday, thank you very much, Sierra continued to mutter, peering closer at the name displayed on the small screen. After noting that the caller was not her friend calling again, she flipped the cover open and put the cell phone to her ear. Hi, Perry, what's up? She said into the phone. I wanted to know if you wanted to ride down with us, Sierra's younger brother Perry's deep voice boomed in her ear. Faith asked me to invite you to save you gas. She's doing some last-minute shopping, and I'm on my way home. I just remembered she mentioned it this morning. Sorry about that. I hope you are not already on the road. I'm not going down, Sierra replied shortly. See, Perry argued, you can't disappoint Mom. She'll have a fit. I'll call her and explain, Sierra responded firmly. Yeah, after we've all had to hear her make some lame excuses for you. What's the excuse going to be this time? So we're prepared, Perry asked caustically. I'm not in the celebrating mood, Sierra replied bluntly. So how is that different from any of the rest of us? Perry demanded. It's for Mom and Pop. You know how much they live for Christmas. Look, Perry, Sierra insisted irritably, I'm not going down. I'm not in any mood to get interrogated about my divorce, and besides, you'll be off the hook. Bella will take up the slack. After the first few minutes of realizing I'm not coming, our pick of the litter, older sister, and her brood of kids will have Mom in seventh heaven. You said divorce. When did this decision come about? I thought you and Joe were trying to work something out. Does Mom know about this, that you're actually suing for divorce? Perry responded in a surprised barrage of questions. I didn't do it, Joe did. And Perry, let me tell Mom, Sierra pleaded. I don't want all this to come out secondhand. Will you do that for me? I don't know, her brother replied hesitant. Come on, Perry Barry, little brother, Sierra wheedled. Don't ruin the holidays for Mom and Dad. Just tell them that I have some things to do and that I'll call, okay? Quit calling me that name or you'll have my kids saying it, Perry grumbled, and no one, especially Mom, is going to buy that. Then just tell her I'm contagious. I am, you know, contagious with the Scrooge bah humbug. I'd only bring all the holiday cheer down, Sierra insisted, and then she paused at the silence on the other end of the phone. In the past, her brother, who was 1.5 years her junior in age, and she were, if not close, at least and affectionately loyal to one another. As the youngest in the family and the only son, he was therefore a privileged child. He also was usually willing to accommodate her as a go-between with their parents. Perry Anthony Colson had grown up to be a respected member of Charleston, West Virginia business community. With his best friend and university colleague, he co-owned his own CPA firm. However, He was a stickler for tradition, especially family traditions. Come on, I'll call as soon as I hang up, I promise. I'm under the weather, okay? Bad bug. See, if you smooth away before I get there, I will support you, Perry finally agreed. You better make it good and believable, or I will spill the beans. I love you, brother dearest, his sister cooed gratefully. Come for the kids' gifts when you get back. Will do, Perry said. You're sure you won't change your mind? I got the papers this morning, Sierra answered, her voice low and pleading. I can't, Perry. Okay, sis, if you say so, he agreed. I'm pulling in the driveway now, so I'll ring off. Call if you change your mind. We are heading out about 6 or so. Have a good trip, Sierra replied, feeling much more cheerful after successfully achieving her wishes. Drive carefully. Don't get drunk, Perry warned. That won't help. And if you get pulled over, I won't come and bail you out. Now, why would I do a thing like that? Sierra teased, smiling fondly at her little brother's statement. She knew without a doubt that he did not mean a word of his threat. Absolutely, he responded gruffly. Goodbye, Brother Barry, Sierra laughed. It was the first genuine laugh in many weeks. Despite feeling alone and abandoned on Christmas Eve, Sierra found that she had no desire to get drunk. After she made the promise call to her parents, dramatically sniffling and coughing without remorse for her substitute, she wished them both a very Merry Christmas. Then she prepared a Christmas Eve dinner for one. The meal consisted of a frozen lean cuisine entree that she arranged on her best china plate. Deciding to add to the spirit of the occasion, she poured a crystal goblet from a bottle of non-alcoholic Chardonnay that she had purchased to take to the family dinner. Feeling the need to create a better Christmas mood, she turned on the lights of a small plastic tree that in years past had decorated the bedroom during the holiday season. The small tree did not give the room the desired glow that she wanted, so she then gathered all of the candles that she could find, and after arranging the candles around the room, Sierra surveyed her handiwork with satisfaction. She placed her tray of food on the side table, then proceeded to curl up in her favorite mauve-colored wing-back chair, ready to enjoy the first Christmas that she had ever spent in her life completely alone. The quietness of the room soon made the lonely woman restless. She rose from her comfortable repose and turned on the television set to get some welcome noise into the silent room. Her goal was to find a Christmas music program, with the hope that music would inspire some holiday spirit and dispel the depressive gloom that was threatening to take over. Finally settling for a local dance company's version of the Nutcracker, Sierra ate her small meal. Unfortunately, when the last bite was consumed, she found that the program failed to keep her attention. As a result, it was not long before she found herself seated at the computer, surfing the web. Without real intent, but with the conversation between her coworker and herself still hovering in her mind, Sierra scrolled through the want ad sections. First, She viewed the website opportunities listed for the state of West Virginia, then narrowed her search to her own home city of Charleston. After perusing the ads for paralegal secretaries and general receptionists, she decided to see what some of the local temporary agencies had to offer. The first listing was AAE Temps, with the subtitle American Agency for Temporary Employment. Sarah scanned the list, scrolling down until her eye caught a provocative ad that simply said, "Woman Wanted." Well, she thought wryly, I'm a woman, though I don't know how wanted. She pulled the ad up, enlarging it for closer inspection, and read it with interest. Woman wanted for temporary position as house sitter. Must be available immediately to live in an isolated rural location in eastern West Virginia for the months of January 1 through March 30. Reliable, mature, and motivated persons only need apply. Duties and salaries explained at time of interview. References required. There was a contact number and a phone number, as well as a fax number to apply by internet. For the next 3 hours, Sierra carefully made out a resume and a list of references to fax to the agency. Although she really wasn't expecting a reply, it was something to pass the hours of this long Christmas Eve. If I do get a call and the salary is something that I can't refuse, it would be a vacation of sorts. If I get fired, she added grimly. Becoming more and more intrigued with the wording of the job description, Sarah gave more thought to her qualifications for the job. She had no ties to a spouse, and she was also confident that no one would miss her. And she reasoned she absolutely adored snow and the woods and mountains. After all, she was a West Virginia country girl. Yeah, she argued with herself as she formed her cover letter to the ad agency. Suburban Charleston isn't exactly country living, and captain of the high school cheerleaders, winner of the Chamber of Commerce Junior Miss Pageant, and runner-up of Miss Charleston of 1998, did not qualify her for the role of Daisy May of the Dukes of Hazzard. Momentarily distracted, Sarah thought about why she had endeavored to win those titles, and knew that it was to compete with her sister Bella. 2 years her senior, Arabella had been her senior prom queen and winner of every major statewide beauty contest. That budding career ended when Bella met and married a young man that was moonlighting at his tutor to make extra money for his engineering degree. Compared to her sister, Sierra felt like a small-town wannabe and never made it. Story of my life, she decided glumly, and this won't happen either, she predicted as she clicked the send button. Chapter 3, Journey to Nowhere. To her surprise, Sierra did get a call from that impulsive inquiry that was actually done in a fit of restless boredom. In all honesty, she had not really been looking for a different job. That had been a reactionary bluff. The truth was, she really liked the law agency that she worked for and the people that she associated with daily. Nevertheless, when the telephone call came, and more out of intrigue and surprise and a sense of curiosity, Sarah agreed to follow up with the interview. On December 27, Exactly 2 days after Christmas, an extremely curious Sierra was seated across the desk from Cornel Allen. The name was misleading because the personnel director of the agency turned out to be a woman in her early 50s. In addition, the advertised position was offered to Sierra virtually carte blanche, without any questions about her employment background, her reasons why she needed employment, nothing at all could she start immediately. In addition, the salary was over $3,000 a month. $10,000 to be for the 3 months, along with immediate travel and personal expenses. In fact, it was an offer monetarily that Sierra was not prepared to pass up. And yes, she assured the woman, she could be packed and on the road by the end of the week. What happened in the brief interview and in the hours following transpired so rapidly that the young woman was to wonder later at the swift change of events, not to mention an absolute amazement at her spontaneous reaction, so unlike her normal behavior, because within hours, Sierra's existence as she knew it was completely changed. The following Saturday, as the sun was struggling to light the bleak horizon and in a heightened sense of anticipation, the newly hired Sierra made her way toward her destination. On the seat of her red economy-sized Kia automobile was a printout of a MapQuest direction. Due to the driver's need for soothing music, the car's stereo radio was set on the station that only played the oldies but goodies country music. As the miles lengthened, taking Sierra from her home and all that was familiar, she again wondered at the speed that the woman who had just hired her set things into motion. Over and over again, she had replayed the brief interview and the competent, if abrupt way, Mrs. Cornel Allen had efficiently sped her on her way. The conclusion was that the woman who looked for all the world like someone's sweet, middle-aged grandmother was, appears to the contrary, very competent at her job. In hindsight, Sarah was now wondering if the woman even took a day off for Christmas. This assumption was due to the immediate response Sarah received when she posted her inquiry about the position. Sarah shifted her focus from Cornel Allen, her new employer, to her destination. According to the information given to her by this woman, the house that would be her home belonged to a businessman named Gabriel Faulkner. What the actual nature of the man's business was not explained. What had been explained was that Mr. Faulkner apparently built a lodge that he inhabited frequently or infrequently as his schedule dictated, and that recently his housekeeper of many years died suddenly, leaving him without a woman to take care of the place. So you're saying that what he really is looking for is a housekeeper? Sierra had inquired. No, Mrs. Allen denied. Mr. Faulkner only wants a temporary person in residence on the property while he is away for the next few months. He has business out of the country, and with Mrs. Vanderholt, the woman paused, looking away as if her attention was momentarily diverted, and then she resumed. Leaving so suddenly, he wants the furniture and carpets kept swept and the rooms kept heated against dampness and mold. The house is to be kept clean and in readiness for when Mr. Faulkner is able to return home. The duties are listed on the pages that I gave you. Nothing more is required, the woman stated firmly. You may choose a room for yourself and feel at home. No one will bother you, I assure you. She added, This is the man's home. I thought it was a hunting lodge or something, Sarah had questioned in confusion. Well, that's what he likes to call it, Mrs. Allen replied chucklingly. But you will see, it is really quite charming from the photographs I've seen of the house and the grounds. I don't know about the furniture. I am sure that all but bachelors would be what he would choose. He's a bachelor? Sierra questioned in surprise. Mr. Faulkner is not married at the present time, Mrs. Allen replied in a matter-of-fact manner, but I understand he's considered quite a catch. I'm sure he is, Sierra remarked dryly. Rich men always are. Yes, the woman chuckled. Well, you must call me if you need anything. I am always available to you. And with those words, the woman rose to her feet, making it clear the interview was at an end. Mrs. Allen, Sierra said as she rose also to take her leave, are you my contact for any problem? What problems might you be expecting? Mrs. Allen asked in concern. I mean, if the plumbing breaks down or a storm puts the lights out or something, Sierra answered. She suddenly, in a flash of panic, realized the undertaking she had agreed to. Oh, my dear, no, Mrs. Allen laughed. There is a man who takes care of all those things. A man? I thought I was alone, Sierra queried in surprise. The couple that have taken care of the estate for years have a house on the property, Mrs. Allen explained, and Mr. Vanderholt, who maintains the ground in the lodge, is still there. He will be made aware of your presence, but I doubt you will see him, the woman remarked encouragingly. I understand he is quite singular, reclusive, you might say, so feel free to call me if you need anything. I am a phone call away, the woman promised, patting Sierra's hand maternally, and then firmly led Sierra to the door. Like she was afraid I would come back out of the deal, Sierra muttered to herself as she recalled the conversation. As the miles sped by underneath humming tires on the smoothly paved road, and the scenery became more and more mountainous, Sierra neared the National Forest Reserve that bordered the Tennessee state line. Along with the miles, the initial spurt of enthusiasm that greeted her upon waking up this morning deserted the weary young woman. The isolation of the era and the rashness of her actions began to become clearer the closer Sierra came to the residence that she was to house sit. The place that would be her home for 3 snowy, ice-cold, and all alone long months. And Sierra began to be unsure of just what she had agreed to, or for that matter, why, and more to the point, for whom. You have a cell phone and you can simply call and tell Mrs. Allen that you've changed your mind, she mused aloud, trying to reassure herself that she had not undertaken a completely crazy, foolhardily journey. And if you freak out at any time, just leave, she said. to herself.